with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
When I die, I hope no one who ever hurt me cries. And if they cry, I hope their eyes fall out, and a million maggots that had made up their brains crawl from the empty holes and devour the flesh that covered the evil that passed itself off as a person that I probably tried to love. When I die, I hope every worker in the National Security Council, the Interpol, the FBI, CIA Foundation for the Development of Black Women gets an extra bonus and maybe takes one day off, and maybe even ask why they didn't work as hard for us as they did them. But it always seems to be that way. Please don't let them read Nikki Rosa. Maybe just let some black woman who called herself my friend go around and collect each and every book. And let some black man who said it was negative of me to want him to be a man collect every picture and poster. And let them burn those as they did me while I tried to live. And as soon as I die, I hope everyone who loved me learns the meaning of my death, which is a simple lesson. Don't do what you do very well, and enjoy it. It scares white folk and makes the black ones truly mad. But I do hope someone tells my son his mother liked little old ladies with their blue dresses and hats and gloves. That sitting by the window to watch dawn come up is valid. That smiling at an old man and petting a dog don't detract from manhood. Do somebody please tell him I knew all along that what would be is what will be, but I wanted to be a new person, and my rebirth was stifled, not by the master, but the slave. And if ever I touched a life, I hope that life knows that I know that touching was and still is and will always be the true revolution.
As much as I loved Nikki Giovanni, there's nothing I could ever say about her that would come anywhere near her own eloquence. And so we commenced this tribute to Nikki Giovanni with Nikki in her own words. That piece is called When I Die. And indeed, Nikki Giovanni has now made her transition yesterday at the age of 81. She was one of my favorite and most frequent guests over the 30-plus years of my broadcast career. Prolific poet, visionary artist, and towering public intellectual. She was last on this program, and I'm honored to say that everything I've done in my 30-plus year broadcast career, no matter where I was hosting shows on television or radio, Nikki Giovanni always made her way to my platform. One of the few guests who has been with me for 30-plus years, no matter what iteration of broadcast I was starring in at the moment. Nikki Giovanni always showed up, and for that I am grateful. She was last on this program, I was about to say, in August of this year, just a few months ago, literally. And I could sense then, I talked to her on the phone privately before she came on the air. We conducted the 1-hour conversation, and I could sense then she was sick. And indeed, she talks about that in this conversation I'm going to share with you now. At the time, she was struggling with pneumonia. But I sensed that we might be talking for the last time, publicly at least, and indeed, this August appearance was her last public conversation with yours truly. 2024 has been a rough year for those of us who revel in black genius. These legends are being lost with great regularity, much to my pain and chagrin this year. But we've lost some giants, and so we dig into the vault one more again, this time to celebrate the life and legacy of Nikki Giovanni, who passed away again yesterday at the age of 81. We will commence this conversation with a clip of James Baldwin. When Nikki was last on this program in August, we asked her on to celebrate the 100th anniversary of her friend, Jimmy Baldwin.
Morality and power is a very subtle one, because power, ultimately, with no morality, is not any longer power. You cannot call Spain a powerful nation. You can't call Franco a powerful man. He's got a whole nation in jail. But that's not power.
No.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. His game isn't running.
Precisely. Now, when our game starts running, and after all, baby, we have survived the roughest game in the history of the world.
Yeah.
We really have. No matter what we say against ourselves, no matter what our limits and hang-ups are, we have come through something, and if we can get this far, we can get further, and we got this far by means which no one understands, including you and me. We're only beginning to apprehend it, and you're a poet precisely because you are beginning to apprehend it and put it into a form, which will be useful for your kid and his kid, and for the world. Because we're not obliged to accept the world's definitions. Just because white people say they're white, we're not obliged to believe it.
Like it's
Just because the Pope says he's a Christian, we're not obliged to believe it.
and we'd be crazy if we did.
We have to make our own definitions and begin to rule the world that way. Because kids, white and black, cannot use what they have been given.
And they're rejecting it.
They're rejecting it. Nobody wants to become the president of Pan Am, or the governor of California, or Spiro Agnew. The kids want to live.
Yeah.
And we have, out of a terrifying suffering, a certain sense of life which everybody needs. And that's morality for me.
Nikki Giovanni, every time I hear that conversation, and I go back to it often, I am always struck by the richness and the relevance of it, even in real time. It is always a delight, as I said earlier, to be in dialogue with you. How are you doing, for starters?
Well, I'm hanging in. I've had a bit of pneumonia that I'm having some trouble shaking, but other than that, I'm hanging in. I'm fine. It's good talking to you. I definitely wanted to talk to you, and I'm very happy to celebrate Jimmy's birthday.
No, I'm honored.
I think it's important that we always remember the people who laid this path for us. Yeah. And certainly he is one of them.
No question about that. I read a piece just to get us started. We'll get to Jimmy and to you and that conversation and so much other stuff in this hour. Let me start with this. I was reading a piece the other day. I think it was in The Guardian, where you said, at 80, I still feel a lot of anger. I'm watching my clock now. I don't want you to get started. I have to cut you off. But you said at 80, I still feel a lot of anger. So you know the obvious question, right? What is Nikki Giovanni so angry about at 80? We'll let her unpack that when we come forward and get this conversation really started for real on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
On behalf of her precious family, it is with profound sadness that KBLA Talk 1580 announces the passing of our beloved colleague, Robin Ayers, on Thursday, December 5th. Robin was a bright light. You could see her radiant smile through the radio. We all respected her immense talent, loved her jovial spirit, celebrated her love of family, and honored her faith in God. Our thoughts and prayers are with Robin's entire family, most especially her husband Rob and her twin daughters Brooklyn and Madison. We ask you to join us in praying for the Ayers family as they navigate the difficult days ahead. In her honor, all this week, we're broadcasting the best of the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Who do you trust to get at the truth? Tavis, Smiley. That's who. The conversation continues right now.
All I know that works in the world is a relationship.
Yes, all right.
Okay, that's all that's going to work. It takes two people to have a relationship.
Yeah, but the relationship...
If you don't have a dream, fake it.
But the relationship, you can't fake a dream.
You got to fake it, because we don't have dreams these days. How the hell can you have a dream? For what?
Well, it isn't...
So everybody's jiving, but let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me, and you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course you'll lie to me, because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell. Because I love you, I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man? For 10 years, so that we can get a child on his feet that says, yeah, father smiled at mother. He talked to me about school today. Who cares that you can read or can't read? Most Americans can't read. Most people can't read. They look at the pictures.
Giovanni, Nikki, how remind me, I want to say 27. Remind me how old you were, how young you were when you did that conversation with James Baldwin?
I think I was 28.
28? And how old was Baldwin then?
27 or 28, yeah.
How old was Baldwin then?
Then he was
about 60?
20 years older than I was. Yeah. So there was if I was 27, then he was 47.
47, okay, not quite.
It was a 20-year
20-year gap.
Yeah. It was very kind of Jimmy to spend time with me, because he was an important writer, and I had only written 2 books,
Yeah.
And I'm just a poet. So he was a great essayist and novelist,
yeah,
and well known. So I thought it was very kind of him to agree to have a conversation with me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was listening to it. It was fun.
Every time I hear it, though, Nikki, particularly that clip, I think about and again, none of these words may resonate with you, and I'm happy. You're the brilliant writer here, so I'm happy to have you disabuse me of any of these words that I'm using, or this notion that I'm about to express, for that matter. But every time I hear you, and I am reminded of this 20-year age gap and the respect we all have for our elders, and clearly it was a respectful conversation, and you pulled Jimmy across the line a couple times in that conversation for him to acknowledge that he understood your particular point of view. But the fact that you were able to express yourself, to articulate yourself with respect, with love, with dignity, with honor for his humanity, but to do that at 27 or 28, to hold your own in that way, to not be intimidated by Jimmy Baldwin in that moment. Tell me more about that part, Nikki.
Well, I wasn't intimidated, but I didn't want to embarrass him. I didn't want him to say, why am I talking to this crazy girl?
Yeah.
And it just seemed that some issues had to be brought up, and that was one of them. The idea of, why do I get the worst of you? Mm. And I think that's still a question. And we're looking now, of course, at the young men shooting each other, killing each other.
Yeah.
And you're saying, why are black boys getting the worst of each other? Why are 16, 17-year-olds shooting each other? That's illogical. It doesn't make sense. And it's a lot of things that still the older men need to take on.
Yeah.
They need to raise these questions with these young men. They're not doing their fair share, in other words, and that's fair to say.
Yeah. Is it your view, 50 plus years after that conversation, that iconic conversation with James Baldwin, is it your view that black women in real time here in late modernity are still getting too often the worst of black men?
I think that we're not getting the support that we should. And when we start to look, we just recently had a killing here in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and a woman, the cop killed her because he said, "I thought she was going to throw hot water on me." But it's that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say it. It doesn't make sense. And we had a young man, a basketball player, who was down in South Carolina with his team, and all he wanted to do in life actually was to be able to play basketball, to take care of his mother, and his take care of what his father was not taking care of. And someone shot him, someone killed him. And you have to say, well, why did they do that? Now we can find a motive, because it probably had something to do with they wanted him to, sell some drugs or do something that he didn't want to do. But the reality is, it was his aunt that said, this was a great kid. Why is he dead? And it's his mother and his other female relatives who are complaining about this death. And I'm very, very happy that one of the lawyers that they have, the lawyer that they have, is Mr. Crump.
Yeah, Ben
because
Crump.
He's
Yeah.
a great lawyer,
Yeah.
and money won't change it, but he will make them pay for it. And I'm glad. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad about that. But something's wrong, that the black community is being crazy. I'm so happy, Tavis, that Miss Harris, Vice President Harris,
Sure.
is going to be our nominee.
Yeah.
And I think that she can beat Donald Trump, because I think anybody can beat Donald Trump. But I know that black women already, we had a meeting, and I say we, I mean black women had that. 80 women got together, and they're like, no, we got to get to work. Right. And black women are going to see to it that Miss Harris becomes President Harris. Yep. It's going to be the black women. And I'm not saying that black men won't, because black men will. There'll be there are other people, but I'm just saying, I'm so glad that the black women are saying, no, we're gonna do it. We're not afraid of having a black woman be president of the United States. Yeah. And a lot of other people are. Yeah. A lot of white guys are. Yeah. And a lot of some white women are afraid of what does it mean. But what it will mean is that the United States will be a better place. Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. I'm a Delta. And of course, the Deltas in 1913 are the people who went out to say black women have to have a right to vote.
That's right.
And we did it. And of course, the Vice President Harris is Kamala Harris is a AKA, so she's our mother sorority. But we have our little sisters, our Zetas, but the Divine Nine, all of the Divine Nine, men and women, are what elected Biden, and we're going to elect Harris. Yeah. And I'm so excited about that.
No, I was heartened this week, as I'm sure you were. Earlier this week, we had that call with all these black women. 44,000 on this one big Zoom call. Nikki Giovanni's talking to me on Zoom right now, but it's just her and me. There were 44,000 black women on a Zoom call earlier this week. And then right after that, 56,000 black men on a call. Raising money for Kamala Harris. So in that sense, I hope that Kamala Harris isn't getting the worst of black men because they seem to be poised to support her in this campaign. I talked to Ben. You mentioned Ben Crump. I talked to Ben Crump yesterday. We'll get him on here in a couple of days. But he and I talked on the phone yesterday about this case that he's out front on. And I agree, Ben's a good guy, and you can't bring him back. Yeah. but you can certainly make them pay, and Ben Crump will do that, no question about it. It occurs to me to ask you this, and it's a strange question, but not the first or last strange question I've ever asked Nikki Giovanni. And I'm going to get to why you're so angry at 80 here in just a second. But after 80 years of living, your anger notwithstanding, again, put a pin in that. And not that you would have had a choice in this, but after all that you have endured, all the hell that you've caught as a black woman, all the pushback, all the patriarchy, all the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if you could do it over again and tell God how you wanted to come back, would you want it to be anything other than a black woman?
Oh, no, I definitely, I say it all the time. I definitely want to be a black woman. And I think that we're the best thing on earth. And I'm really hoping, though I have nothing to do with it, I'm really hoping that she chooses the astronaut Giffords for her vice president.
Mark Kelly.
Yeah,
Giffords' husband.
It's about time we got somebody from outer space to come back and say this is what Earth looks like. So it's about time we moved on.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the campaign, and I don't mean to pick on black men either.
Sure.
I'm just saying I worry sometimes about the young men shooting each other. I live in Virginia, and we've had a lot of killing, but I'm so proud of all of us because we're going to carry this thing, and we're going to win it.
Yep.
Because nobody wants nobody wants another Nazi. We've had the war. We've had World War I and II, and it's time that we admit it. Okay, we don't need any more hatred.
Yeah,
It's time for the black people to take over.
I think Nikki Giovanni, as she always does, just gave us a bumper sticker. Nobody wants another Nazi. That sounds like a bumper sticker to me if ever there was one. Nobody wants another Nazi. I hear you loud and clear, Nikki Giovanni. Now, to this Guardian piece that I read, that I referenced earlier, where you say I'm 80, or at 80, I still feel a lot of anger. What you angry about at 80, Nikki Giovanni?
Oh, God. Everything is a mess right now. And not everything, but it's a lot of mess. I didn't realize how angry I was until I watched, there was a documentary on me called Going to Mars.
Oh, yeah.
And I finally sat down and watched it. I didn't have anything to do with it because I had faith in the producers, and I thought if I'm going to let them do a life story, then get out of the way. And so I did. But then when I sat down and watched it, I realized, oh, gee, she's really still angry. And there are a lot of things that, what's going on with Israel and Hamas, that's genocide. And Israel is going to have to answer for that. And I think that's sad. But we have, we're just beginning to settle down in Haiti. I think that the world can be a better place. And I guess I'm still angry that we have not moved at the rate that I would like to have seen them move. I think of myself as a patient person. I really do. Mm-hmm. But after a while, you think, well, look at our generation, Tavis. Look at all we did, and we've gotten a lot done. I'm very pleased with some of the progress. But on the other hand, we could do so much better.
Yeah.
And we're still looking at the world as if we could divide it. And we can't. We live on an earth that is in space, and we are all a part of the earth. And I think it's time we really started to teach that. Yeah. I think the most important thing that the next generation will learn or must learn is that we are earthlings, which is why I'm very much in favor of getting an astronaut into the White House.
Yeah, no,
because I think that having him there with Kamala will be the perfect team to make people begin to realize, oh, we all are on this together. Yeah. We all have air that we breathe. We have water that we drink. We are sharing this life. And I think that these two people, and that is not that others can't, because
sure,
I'm going to vote for the others anyway, but I just think it'd be nice to have somebody who has been out into space who says, but I saw this ball and I saw that we were just a blue ball in space. And it's time that we recognize that the most important thing that we do is that we live on this ball together.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I think I know the answer, but I want to ask anyway. When you achieve the age of 80, and you say that there's still so much to do, and you still feel some anger about what has not been done, I don't think you mean to suggest, I just want to make sure I'm clear, that you don't think your particular struggle was worth it. You don't have regrets, do you?
Oh, no, I think we did a great job. I'm so proud of my generation. I really am.
Right.
And I'm proud of the generations that have come before us, where now we just recently, as you know, recognized the Black soldiers for who landed in Dunkirk. And, you think, well, when did you plan to do that? We have to recognize the sacrifices that people have made. And we have to recognize the hopes and the dreams that people go forward for. And we have to also be supportive of that. So I don't have that problem. But you do just know that there are some things that, and they're not big things, Tavis. It's a little thing to say. If somebody says, well, there's an old spiritual that says, if anybody asks you who you are, tell them you're a child of God.
Yeah.
And I want that answer to also be, if anybody asks you who you are, tell them you're an earthling. And just start from pre-kindergarten. I'm an earthling. I'm not Black. I'm not white. I'm not a man. I'm not a woman. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Gentile. I am an earthling. And just get that in somebody's head, that we belong to this planet.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a big step in helping us to become, and I say us, I mean the earthlings, to become better people. Because we live in a galaxy, life forms that we have not actually wanted to acknowledge.
Yeah. Nope, Nikki Giovanni is doing it once again, as she always does, making me think, pressing me to re-examine the assumptions I hold, to expand my inventory of ideas, to look at the world and to look at life. Look at our inhabiting this planet through a different lens, always pushing, even at 80, to get me to think differently. I love her for it. Pleased to be in dialogue right now, once again, with Nikki Giovanni. We'll talk more about James Baldwin and his monumental contributions to this nation in written letters and beyond. Just delighted to be with Nikki once again on Tavis Smiley.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Nearly 200 people were killed in Haiti's capital Port-au-Prince in violence targeting voodoo practitioners. The UN and Haitian Prime Minister condemned the attacks as horrific and a monstrous crime. Luigi Mangione, suspected in the United Healthcare CEO killing, faces multiple charges, including forgery and carrying a firearm without a license. He was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and is being held without bail. The parents of missing journalist Austin Tice believe he's alive and hope for a reunion soon. Tice disappeared in Syria in 2012, and the State Department believes he's being held by the Syrian government. And if you're hoping for some extra money for the holidays, tonight's Mega Millions jackpot has ballooned to at least $619 million. The cash option on that works out to just shy of $298 million. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New deals just dropped at Lowe's. Get up to 50% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees, holiday lights, and more. Plus, save with weekly deal drops on appliances, tools, and more. Valid 12/5 through 12/11. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
For the third straight week, UCLA has the nation's #1 women's college basketball team. The 9-0 Bruins have been ranked #1 since they upset defending national champion South Carolina on November 24th. UCLA is back in action Saturday at Long Beach State. USC's women's basketball team is ranked 5th this week. The Trojans are 8-1. They're at home tonight against Fresno State. The Lakers and Clippers have a nice schedule break. Both teams are off until Friday. The Lakers are at Minnesota. The Clippers are at Denver. The 4 finalists for this year's Heisman Trophy Award were announced Monday. Colorado wide receiver defensive back Travis Hunter, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel, University of Miami quarterback Cam Ward, and Boise State running back Ashton Genty. The award for college football's best player will be presented Saturday in New York City. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Get your choice of 5-gallon pails of Valspar Signature Ceiling Paint or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Flat Ceiling Paint for just $148. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Bad Ash Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
The revolution will not be televised.
This is Brother Cornell West. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm full of joy and delight to announce that I'm joining the precious family at KBLA Talk 1580, founded and led by my dear brother Tavis Smiley himself. Yes, the name of the show is Truth Time, and I'll be working with the inimitable Nina Turner out of Cleveland, Ohio, sister of great vision, and we will be on weekdays at 12 noon. We will be following Brother Tavis Smiley's show. We will begin Monday, January the 6th. That's right, Monday, January the 6th. Get ready for a different kind of insurrection. We coming with Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Curtis Mayfield and Aretha Franklin, and gonna add a little Gil Scott-Heron too, as Nina Simone sits at the center. That's right.
The revolution will be live.
That's what we gonna do. Please come with us on this fantastic voyage.
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
Smart talk for curious people just like you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Nikki Giovanni. We are blessed once again to have her voice come through these airwaves, inspiring us, empowering us, enlightening us, challenging us. I love it all, and always, again, just humbled to be in dialogue with Nikki Giovanni one more again. I was just saying, Nikki, to my staff here in the studio, what a day I had yesterday. It was a long, tough day. And near the end of the day, one of my assistants walks into my office with a big box. And and some other mail. And I just said, put the box on the floor and I'll get to it. And they put the box on the floor. And then later last evening, I realized I hadn't opened the box. So I went to open the box, and there in the box, and you know how this works. You've done this many times in your career, Nikki Giovanni. When you write a new book, the publisher sends you initially one big box of books just to put a smile on your face to let you know that the baby has been birthed. And here is the first box, a first edition set of your new book. I think the audience knows, I've mentioned it once or twice, that this is the 20th anniversary of the covenant with Black America. And so I've been for the last year, in between radio interviews and everything else I'm doing, working on this 20th anniversary edition of the Covenant with Black America, this book that came out, shot to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, the first book by a black publisher to do so, stayed there for a number of weeks, sold millions and millions of copies, the Covenant with Black America. And so now, just a few weeks from now, we will release the Covenant with Black America 20 years later. And so last night I had a big smile on my face and got on my knees and thanked God for another opportunity to try to do my part to make a difference, to push our people a little bit more in the forward direction. But I sat there last night just kind of thumbing through the book, this 20th anniversary edition of the Covenant. I raised that because I reached out to a friend of mine to ask her if she would honor me by writing the afterword to the 20th anniversary edition of this book. That friend's name is Nikki Giovanni. And Nikki Giovanni did as I asked her. I cried when she said yes, but when I saw it, I just gave up all kind of water. Because when I read the piece that Nikki Giovanni sent to me and then forwarded to the publisher to be included as the afterword in the book, it just hit me what it means to have an original poem from Nikki Giovanni in one of my books. The poem is titled, you gotta love this, My Contract with America, or is that America's contract on Negroes? My contract with America, or is that America's contract on Negroes? And I dare not read it to you because I couldn't get through it without breaking down. But it's just so rich. I raised that, Nikki, in this public domain because I want to just say, again, for everybody here, thank you for writing this afterword, for writing this poem. It is richer than rich, and I can't wait for folk to get the book, to consider the issues that matter to black people 20 years later, the progress we've made or not. But to get to the end of the book and to read an original poem by Nikki Giovanni just does something to me. So, Nikki, thank you. I love you for this.
Oh, no, thank you for asking me. It was a pleasure. And, of course, I've always enjoyed the work that you do, Tavis. But thank you for asking me. It was my pleasure, totally, to be a part of it. And what we've done, what we continue, I was laughing because the last time we talked, I said the one thing that you and I have in common is that we both like black people. and not that everybody doesn't, but a lot of people don't. And it's kind of nice to talk to somebody that just likes black people and just deals with them, with us, as honestly and actually as lovingly as we can. And Jimmy did that.
Yes.
And we were talking about Baldwin, but Jimmy did that. Jimmy was honest. And he loved black people, but he loved a lot of people. He loved people, but he really did reach out to say, this is the way we are feeling. And that's a wonderful thing. And there's some young writers I know coming up who are saying the same thing. I'm just going to be as honest as I can. I hope that other people like it. If they don't, I understand. And they go on. I think that that's so important, to be yourself. I think that that's so important. And I think that that's what Jimmy has taught all of the young writers, really.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? I mean, maybe why is the wrong question, but what is it about James Baldwin that is so rich, that is so resonant all these years later? I ask that in part, Nikki, because as you know, over the last few years, there's been sort of a James Baldwin renaissance. I mean, I don't know what happened, but over the last decade or so, everybody's discovering James Baldwin. I kid you not. I had a white woman on this program yesterday, brilliant professor, and has written a powerful piece called is democracy on the ballot. What's her name, Faraji? Give me the professor's name again. What's her name? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Susan McWilliams-Barnt. For those listening yesterday, I can't keep up because I had 10 guests yesterday on this program. But Susan McWilliams-Barnt, William professor, wrote a powerful piece called Is Democracy on the Ballot? And we had her on yesterday, and she's breaking this thing down. I mean, she killed it. A white sister, but she was brilliant yesterday. And at some point in the conversation, she says, Baldwin would put it this way. And she goes on to quote Jimmy Baldwin, and she says that James Baldwin is my North Star. And I told her, any white woman for whom James Baldwin is your North Star, you okay with me. But it was just, it cracked me up because white, black, other, everybody is discovering James Baldwin all of a sudden. What happened, Nikki? What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, there's something about genius.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that we know genius when we see it. It takes a while for people to finally say, oh, that's genius. We recognize, that Einstein, corrected or found something. But Jimmy also discovered something. And genius will always come out. And that's a reality. So I'm glad, and I wish he were here to enjoy some of it.
Yeah.
If it's two people that we miss right now, it's Jimmy Baldwin and Nina Simone, because both of them brought us a genius to their art, and they brought it in a way that somebody else said it recently, and I'm sorry to say I can't remember who, and she said, well, all I want to do is learn to play the piano like Nina Simone. And I thought, wow, that's a good thing to want to do, because Nina played a great piano.
Yeah.
But watching, and I was very fortunate, just because of my age, I think, I was very fortunate to know both Nina and Jimmy, and to be able to see them together and to have meals with them and to have laughter with them. And these were two great people.
Yeah.
And it's important to recognize genius when you see it.
Oh, yeah.
When you hear it.
Oh, yeah.
When you recognize that something has happened here that's wonderful, and you have to sort of take it in and say, well, where are we going next? And that's what both of them did.
Yeah, I did not have the honor of hanging out and having meals and conversations with Nina Simone or James Baldwin. That's why I am so grateful that I've had that honor many times with Nikki Giovanni. When we come forward, I do want to ask her what she thinks Baldwin, as she knew him so well, would make of this particular American moment. We've heard her expression about what this moment means in America, but if Baldwin were here now, all the Kamala stuff, the Middle East stuff, I mean, I don't want to box her in, but I'm just curious as to how she think Baldwin might be navigating or writing, as it were, essaying about this particular moment. And I mentioned that everybody's discovering Baldwin. When we come forward, I'm sure Nikki's heard this, but Rhyme Fest was a guest on this program some weeks ago, and he has music out now. He's actually taken the words of Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin in that iconic conversation over a half century ago as we pushed toward the 100th birthday of James Baldwin on August the 2nd. Rhymefest took some words and put music to it. I'm going to play a little bit of that for you if you've not heard what Rhymefest did with the words of Nikki and Jimmy. We'll do that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha, Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been hearing me guest host here on KBLA Talk 1580, and I'm having a blast. But I'm excited about joining the official lineup here at KBLA Talk 1580 starting Monday, January 6th at 1 p.m. Start your day with First Things First and Dominique DePrima at 6 a.m. Check out Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Tune into Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon, and then tap in with me on The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. weekdays. I served 17 years in the U.S. Congress, and I can tell you it's going to be a rough 4 years, so let's navigate this journey together. It's The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, starting Monday, January 6th at 1 p.m. on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
Everybody is discovering Nikki Giovanni and James Ball in this classic conversation over a half century ago. You heard Nikki say a moment ago, you got to recognize genius. She is a genius in her own right, and that's why I recognize it and always honored to be in conversation with her. But this is a piece from Rhyme Fest, a track from Rhyme Fest called Triggered, where he uses the words of Nikki and Jimmy. Take a listen.
My theory is that the world divides into sort of like intelligent and weak and strong, which is awful. I mean, it's really awful for me to say things like that. But there's so many stupid people.
It divides not so much between the stupid and the bright, because most bright people I have encountered, many, are wicked.
There's trauma and then there's peace, and there's a little bridge you build between the body and relief. It's how I sleep under the cannons, running plays with the dragons, cresting waves with the kraken. Believe me, it's not all fiction. Poetry in motion to galvanize the descriptions of safe harbors. When even safe has its limits, hard to play possum when you're both the sufferer and witness. There's a part of me I don't want to see. It's in the place within my soul where my primitive monster grieves. Triggered by what I read or see. Dangers in the room and it's not you, it's me.
Go through your life for a long time, you think that no one has ever suffered the way I've suffered. You know, my God. And then you realize that your suffering does not isolate you. And your suffering is your bridge. That many people have suffered before you. Many people are suffering around you. And always will. And all you can do is bring, hopefully.
I leaned on you under pressure, broke your heart in pieces and glued it all back together.
Just want to give you a little taste of Rhyme Fest and that track called Triggered, featuring the words of Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin in this classic conversation over 50 years ago. When we come forward, our remaining moments with Nikki Giovanni, we'll get her take on that track, Triggered, and a few other things we'll cover between now and the top of the hour. So honored to be in dialogue with the one and only, the iconic Nikki Giovanni.
Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. This is the Tavis Smiley Show.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Show me what you got.
A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nicordelai Corte, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific, your daily pop culture and political news digest with unfiltered conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Staying in the know can be overwhelming, but we've got you covered with a drive time experience that cuts through the noise and offers something real, engaging, enlightening, and entertaining insights on the stories that matter most. Whether it's the headlines shaping the world or the bold voices shaping the culture, we want to be your guide to a smarter, more meaningful take on today's news and events without fluff, fear, or favor. Every day you can expect us to dig deeper into the moments that matter, shedding light on how the powerful, the powerless, and everyone in between are shaping the future. So join me weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific for a drive time experience and podcast that will inform, inspire, and challenge your vision for a more perfect union. Because what's possible in America is always greater than what's wrong with America. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and I approve this message.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
He's rooting for everybody black. Everybody black. More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
More of Tavis Smiley and Nikki Giovanni coming your way right now. Just about 4 minutes left in this conversation, which has been rich. Nikki, when you hear these younger artists of today just doing what they do, their own unique and particular genius, like Rhyme Fest on that track, Triggered, using the words of you and Jimmy, what do you think?
I'm really pleased that the youngsters are listening to us and finding a way to use us. I got a question for you, though.
Sure.
Am I the only person that thinks that the so-called assassination attempt of Donald Trump was a joke?
No, you are not the only person. You're not the only one.
Am I the only person that thinks that was some kind of I don't believe that anybody shot at him. And I have a problem with that. And I thought, well, I'll ask you, and you can ask your people. Are you the only one that? How do you shoot an ear, and you kill somebody, and you kill somebody else, and you get this ear? I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Let me.
And I just thought, well, I'm talking to you. And you talk to people, maybe somebody will write in and say, well, Nikki's crazy. Of course they tried to kill him. But I have a problem with that.
I will tell you this. I would tell you this, and I don't normally violate confidences. I'm only saying it now because it's already out there publicly anyway. But I was talking to Amanda Seals yesterday, and Amanda is catching all kind of hell and getting pushback. She called me yesterday, and we talked for a while yesterday. Because Amanda has expressed that point of view and some other things that people don't necessarily agree with. And she's having speeches that are canceled now, appearances that are being canceled. So Amanda is experiencing the kind of pushback to her expressing a similar point of view. That's my way of saying, no, you are not the only one who sees it that way, Nikki Giovanni, for what it's worth. I just want to give you a direct answer to your question. I got 2 minutes left here. Any sense of how Jimmy Baldwin would be processing this moment?
I think that Jimmy would be coming straight out and saying probably pretty much what we're saying, because some things just don't make sense. And I think that we're looking at a changing world. I'm pleased to see that Vice President Kamala Harris will be carrying the banner.
Yeah.
As I'm pleased to see Black women moving forward, as I'm pleased to see Black people moving forward. But I think that Jimmy would be saying pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Like what what really is going on here.
Yeah.
And we have to look at it truthfully.
Yep.
We can't just accept what somebody else is saying because it didn't make sense.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense.
Speaking of going, her documentary is called Going to Mars. Cue that track up, Miles. I'm going to close with some Tina Marie. Everybody loves to shout out Nikki Giovanni. You recall in Square Biz, Tina Marie did it beautifully. So we're going to close with Tina Marie after I tell you that Going to Mars is an HBO documentary. If you've not seen it, I invite you to check it out. You will not be disappointed in this wonderful piece about Nikki Giovanni's work and witness. Nikki, I'm out of time. I love you. I love you. I love you. We'll do it again. Stay strong. I'll talk to you soon.
See you soon.
See you soon. As fate would have it, we would not have a chance to do it again, at least not in a public forum, but I am eternally grateful for the many, many conversations Nikki Giovanni shared with me over the years. You heard Nikki say during that final conversation, that final public conversation, it is important to recognize genius when you see it, when you hear it. It is important to recognize genius when you see it, when you hear it. Nikki Giovanni was indeed a genius, and she will be sorely missed. She did complete one last book of poetry, which will be published next year posthumously, and I can't wait. Nikki Giovanni, dead at the age of 81. I'm Tavis Smiley. Until next time, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Nearly 200 people were killed in Haiti's capital Port-au-Prince in violence targeting voodoo practitioners. The UN and Haitian Prime Minister condemned the attacks as horrific and a monstrous crime. Luigi Mangione, suspected in the United Healthcare CEO killing, faces multiple charges, including forgery and carrying a firearm without a license. He was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and is being held without bail. The parents of missing journalist Austin Tice believe he's alive and hope for a reunion soon. Tice disappeared in Syria in 2012, and the State Department believes he's being held by the Syrian government. And if you're hoping for some extra money for the holidays, tonight's Mega Millions jackpot has ballooned to at least $619 million. The cash option on that works out to just shy of $298 million. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New deals just dropped at Lowe's. Get up to 50% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees, holiday lights, and more. Plus, save with weekly deal drops on appliances, tools, and more. Valid 12/5 through 12/11. While supplies last, selection